Canto 10 of Inferno, from The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, translated by H. F. Carey. This is recorded to celebrate the 10th anniversary of LibriVox. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Algie Pug. Canto 10. Now, by secret pathway we proceed, between the walls that hem the region round, and the tormented souls. My master first, I close behind his steps. Virtue supreme, I thus began, who through these ample orbs in circuit leadst me, even as thou wilst, speak thou, and satisfy my wish. May those who lie within these sepulchres be seen? Already all the lids are raised, and none o'er them keeps watch. He thus in answer spake: They shall be closed all, what time they hear from Jehoshaphat return shall come, and bring their bodies, which above they now have left. The cemetery on this part obtain, with Epicurus all his followers, who with the body make the spirit die. Here therefore satisfaction shall be soon, both to the question asked, and to the wish which thou conceal'st in silence. I replied, I keep not, guide beloved, from thee my heart secreted, but to shun vain length of words, a lesson erewhile taught me by thyself. O Tuscan, thou, who through the city of fire alive art passing, so discreet of speech, here, please thee, stay awhile. Thy utterance declares the place of thy nativity to be that noble land with which, perchance, I too severely dealt. Sudden that sound forth issued from a vault, whereat in fear I somewhat closer to my leader's side approaching, he thus spake: What dost thou? Turn. Lo, Farinata there, who hath himself uplifted. From his girdle upwards, all exposed, behold him. On his face was mine already fixed, his breast and forehead there erecting, seemed as in high scorn he held e'en hell. Between the sepulchres to him my guide thrust me with fearless hands and prompt, this warning added: See, thy words be clear. He, soon as there I stood at the tomb's foot, eyed me a space, then in disdainful mood addressed me: Say, what ancestors were thine? I, willing to obey him, straight revealed the whole, nor kept back aught, whence he, his brow somewhat uplifting, cried: Fiercely were they adverse to me, my party, and the blood from whence I sprang. Twice therefore I abroad scattered them. Though driven out, yet they each time from all parts, answered I, returned, an art which yours have shown they are not skilled to learn. Then peering forth from the unclosed jaw, rose from his side a shade high as the chin, leaning, methought, upon its knees upraised. It looked around, as eager to explore if there were other with me, but perceiving that fond imagination quenched, with tears thus spake: If thou through this blind prison goest, led by thy lofty genius and profound, where is my son, and wherefore not with thee? I straight replied, Not of myself I come, by him, who there expects me through this clime conducted, whom perchance Guido thy son had in contempt. Already had his words and mode of punishment read me his name, whence I so fully answered. He at once exclaimed, upstarting: How? Saidst thou he had? No longer lives he? Strikes not on his eye the blessed daylight? Then of some delay I made, ere my reply aware, down fell supine, not after forth appeared he more. Meanwhile the other, great of soul, near whom I yet was stationed, changed not countenance stern, nor moved the neck, nor bent his ribbed side. And if, continuing the first discourse, they in this art, he cried, small skill have shown, that doth torment me more e'en than this bed. But not yet 50 times shall be relumed her aspect, who reigns here queen of this realm, ere thou shalt know the full weight of that art. So to the pleasant world mayst thou return, as thou shalt tell me why in all their laws against my kin this people is so fell. The slaughter and great havoc, I replied, that coloured Arbia's flood with crimson stain, to these impute that in our hallowed dome such orisons ascend. Sighing, he shook the head, then thus resumed. In that affray I stood not singly, nor without just cause, assuredly should with the rest have stirred, but singly there I stood, when by consent of all Florence had to the ground been razed, by one who openly forbade the deed. So may thy lineage find at last repose, I thus adjured him, as thou solve this knot which now involves my mind. If right I hear, you seem to view beforehand that which time leads with him of the present uninformed. We view as one who hath an evil sight, he answered, plainly objects far remote, so much of his large splendour yet imparts the Almighty Ruler. But when they approach, or actually exist, our intellect then wholly fails, nor of your human state, except what others bring us, know we aught. Hence therefore mayst thou understand, that all our knowledge in that instant shall expire, when on futurity the portals close. Then, conscious of my fault, and by remorse smitten, I added thus, Now shalt thou say to him there fallen, that his offspring still is to the living joined, and bid him know that if from answer silent I abstained, 'twas that my thought was occupied intent upon that error which thy help hath solved. But now my master summoning me back I heard, and with more eager haste besought the spirit to inform me, who with him partook his lot. He answer thus returned. More than 1,000 with me here are laid, within is Frederick, second of that name, and the Lord Cardinal, and of the rest I speak not. He, this said, from sight withdrew, but I my steps towards the ancient bard reverting, ruminated on the words betokening me such ill. Onward he moved, and thus in going questioned, Whence the amaze that holds thy senses rapt? I satisfied the inquiry, and the sage enjoined me straight, Let thy safe memory store what thou hast heard to thee importing harm, and note thou this, with his raised finger bidding me take heed. When thou shalt stand before her gracious beam, whose bright eye all surveys, she of thy life the future tenor will to thee unfold. Forthwith he to the left hand turned his feet. We left the wall, and towards the middle space went by a path that to a valley strikes, which e'en thus high exhaled its noisome steam. End of Canto 10 of Inferno, from the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, translated by H. F. Carey. Recording by Algie Pug.